It tells us, this is actually a Dvar Torah from last week, PARSHAS Ki Savo, but I saw this word after we taped last week's videos, so I didn't say it in enough time, but we'll say it over not right now. Just a short word, PARSHAS Ki Savo, and then we'll go on to the main event, the entree, which is PARSHAS Ki Savo. In last week's Parsha, we have a discussion in the Torah about the mitzvah of Hashavas Aveda, returning lost objects. What is the source of this mitzvah of returning lost objects? Last week's Parsha, Torah tells us that a person should not see somebody else's object, v'salamta mehem, and remove himself from the situation. You shouldn't do that. But Hashev tishivim lo'achicha, you shall surely return it to your brother. Okay? That is the mitzvah of Hashavas Aved. The question is, the Torah uses a strange lashon, strange terminology. It says that a person should not see somebody else's object, and then pretend he didn't see it. Seems to be a very poetic way of the Torah talking about what happened. The Torah could have just said that you shouldn't pretend that you didn't see it. V'salamta mehem implies that you remove yourself from the situation. Seems to be very extra drama. That's not necessary. Could have just said, there's some expression in Hebrew. For those Israelis out there, you can email me what would be the Hebrew term. Some type of expression that a person shouldn't pretend he didn't see it. Salamta is more of a lashon of an expression of removing yourself from the situation. So why does the Torah have to say that? So I saw a beautiful answer from Rabbi Zweig, the Rosh Yeshiva here in Miami. Such a beautiful insight that I wanted to share with you. And now wait till next year, PARSHAS Ki Savo, where I think the Torah also mentions this mitzvah, PARSHAS Mishpatim. I didn't want to wait so long, so I figured I'll say it tonight. And that's as follows. The lesson the Torah is teaching us is very simple. The Gemara tells us in Yevamos that there are three character traits that the Jewish people have that we excel in. One of them is Gomle Chasadim. We do chesed. That's the definition of a Jew. A Jew is a person that does chesed, and that's part of our DNA. That's what we are. So how can a person see somebody else's object, and not return it? There's only one way he can do that, is if he removes himself from the situation. Meaning, deeper, removes the essence that he has. A Jew has this essence that they care about somebody else's property. The only way he can do that is if he would remove himself from the situation. Maybe the Torah is teaching us this idea, that the Torah is teaching us this idea that a Jew, the only way for him not to do chesed is if he would remove himself from the situation. But a normal situation, when a Jew sees opportunity to do chesed, he has to do chesed. He doesn't play around. He only does chesed. So maybe that's the message. The Torah can't say and close his eyes, because that wouldn't work. A Jew, be'etzem, intrinsically is what's the word I'm looking for? His instinct is to do chesed. So for him or her not to do it, one would have to remove himself from the situation. That's what the Torah says, Besalam to him. The Torah is telling us, don't do that. Don't remove yourself from the situation. The Torah just couldn't say, and close your eyes, because that wouldn't be enough. That wouldn't accomplish what you're trying to accomplish in that goal of not being able to do that. Because a Jew can't do that. In order for a Jew to not do a Hashavas Aveda, to not return somebody else's property, to not do chesed, he would have to remove himself from the situation. And the Torah says, don't do that. Don't remove yourself from the situation. But on the contrary, there's a mitzvah, there's a chiyuv, there's obligation to return the other person's property. It's a beautiful word, because Rabbi Zweig is showing us this idea that a Jew's nature, tendency, is to do chesed. In order for him not to do that, he would have to change his nature. The Torah says, don't do that. Stay a Jew. Stay with your nature of doing chesed. So, well, that's a very nice verse. The takeaway message is obvious, that we as Jews have this tremendous present that Hashem gave us, that we excel in the mitzvah of chesed, in the mitzvah of doing kindness. And let's take that message with us and continue to be great Jews that do chesed and help one another.